Good morning, student. Today we continue about the objectives and the functions of SEBI. Objectives related to why the formulation is taken by the government for this organization. The government decided some objectives that they have to follow some code of conduct as prescribed in its constitution of SEBI. The overall objective of SEBI is to protect the interest of investor and to promote the development and regulate securities market. This may be elaborated as follows. The first is to regulate the stock exchange. That means they have to look after the sale and purchase of the securities to protect the right and the interest of investors and prevent the investors from malpractices and fraudulent activities. To regulate and develop a code of conduct. Code of conduct, that means rules and regulations. They also supervise that all organization must follow rules and regulation as prescribed by the SEBI and the government. Now there are some functions. The functions of SEBI has been categorized into the three parts: regulatory, protective and development. Regulatory, protective and third one is development. Sometime students are misguided by the others that कि आप बस कोई से भी 3 या 4 फंक्शन रन कर लो, ऊपर हेडिंग डालो और जोन से और वही 3-4 जिसमें है लिख दो. No, that is not, because development function related to the how to develop the culture of securities. Protective, that means where rules and regulations about the malpractices and the fraudulent activities and penalization against the offenders. Regulatory, that means the daily day-to-day operations for the smooth functioning of day-to-day function. Regulatory function will be fixed. अब regulatory में क्या क्या रहता है? Registration of broker. Registration of broker is the regulatory work. This is not under protective and development. Okay, look at this topic carefully. Registration of investment schemes. जितनी भी investment schemes आएंगी, that is related to mutual funding, shares and securities. The next is regulation of stock brokers. Regulations, that means they look after the stock brokers activity. This is also a regulatory work. The next is regulations of takeover companies. Regulation of takeover companies, that means when one company purchases the securities of others. The next is calling for information, that means auditing function is done in auditing of activities or accounts or whatever, and levying the fees, any fee, levying fees, that means registration fee, late charges and all these, and performing of exercise powers under the Securities Act 1956 as may be delegated by the, that means perform according to the code of conduct, performing according to the laws as prescribed by the government. Okay, so you look after this, that regulatory work is only to day-to-day functioning, where registration of brokers, investment scheme, stock brokers, regulation of takeover companies, auditing, levying fees and deciding the fees, how much compensation and how much fees is levying for the activity, and perform their exercising and according to the government laws that is given to them under Securities Contract Act 1956. The next function is about development function. That is development function में क्या रहेगी? Training and development of brokers, उनको ट्रेन करना, किस तरीके से इन्वेस्टर्स को इंट्रोड्यूस करनी है स्कीम्स, क्या झूठ वगैरह नहीं बोलना, ठीक है, रिसर्च करना एंड पब्लिशिंग educational information, okay. And the third function is about undertaking measure to develop capital market by adopting flexible approach. That means flexible approach that make changes according to the demand and need of the current environment. Now protective function, same. प्रोटेक्टिव का मतलब कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट, दैट मीन्स रूल्स और रेगुलेशंस बनाना, ओके, दैट इज प्रोटेक्टिव फंक्शन. इन्वेस्टर्स को कंट्रोल करना, दैट इज प्रोटेक्शन फ्रॉम फ्रॉडुलेंट. नेक्स्ट इज इंसाइडर ट्रेडिंग, prohibition of insider trading. What is insider trading? When the company sometimes raise the price of share internally by making some false statements or in some changes in their accounts, they raise the price of their shares in the market. So इस चीज़ को बिल्कुल ध्यान में रखते हुए कि कंपनी जो अपनी फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट शो कर रही है, दैट इज़ अ रिलायबल और manipulating. Or steps for investor protection, that means investors protection. So you look after the complete difference between all these three functions categorized. Regulatory, where day to day or to run the security exchange with the work that is needed for the initiation of the company. Initial works is under the regulatory work. And development function is related to increase the level of development in which they are working according to the current environment. And protective function to save the investor as well as organizations, and they make laws that should be followed by the investors as well as organizations. So in this way we completed our chapter number 10. The rest of all we discuss in the next video. Bye bye.